All right, we are live.
Awesome.
Hi there, everybody. I'm Dr. Cindy Banyai, and I am here with
Sean Hartman, happy to be here. I'm so excited we're getting to do this finally.
yes, finally. So this is our first episode of a Democrat and a Republican walk into a bar, and we are recording live here at Ollie's Pub and Records in Cape Coral, and I have a Miami beer. Right now, you've got a
I just
Coke.
got the Coke. I'm not a big drinker, so I'm going light today.
I decided that we'll help out our friends here at Ollie's, and we'll have an opportunity here. So this is the first episode, and we hope that we might have to push it till 4:30. We hope that you will come here and join us at Ollie's for the conversation. Stay afterwards, listen in, get questions to the audience. We want this to be an interactive conversation across party lines.
Yes, yeah.
So tell us, Sean, what are you thinking about in terms of how you want to see this podcast?
Oh, I think that there's just a lot of issues that are out there right now. Unfortunately, because of how politics is, we're just so polarized and divided. My side sees you as socialist, communist, Marxist, or whatever, and then you see us as authoritarians and fascists. And the fact is that we have a difference of opinion on how we should go in terms of where direction of our country. I've spoken to you many times privately. I've gotten to know you as an individual, and it's like that's how we are as Americans. And I'm just when it's like we need to have these conversations in a civil way, in a way that's not just like attacking each other all the time, and try to really understand the other side. And I know that probably most of this audience is probably Democrat. I'm probably the first Republican here to talk to. I'm just really excited to be doing this and to at least present that Republican perspective to your audience. Because we're both so divided. We're all in our echo chamber, right? Disappointing.
Yeah, and I'll say I agree that we need to have more dialogue, and it is a good opportunity to talk. But I will tell you one thing: that this audience is very democratic, but it's not necessarily establishment Democrat. So we're a little different. But we were talking about this beforehand of our other show, live show, Juice Fresh Talk. That's with myself and Chantal Road. We filmed that on Thursdays, 6 p.m. at Seed and Bean, downtown Fort Myers. That's another conversation. And that's also one challenging the boundaries of what makes a Democrat and a Republican. So I think that this is a very open space.
I know, and I'm not like the great thing about the Republican Party. I think the Democratic Party to some extent as well. The Republican Party tends to be very big tent. I'm more on the libertarian side on social issues. I tend to be more liberal. So on certain things, I may not always even agree with what my own party is. I'm sure that your audience and your fellow Democrats get pretty upset. And I know we've had some private conversations about some concerns with the Democratic establishment down here. We're definitely, I know that we're both, even within our own party, a bit of black sheep.
And it's also, we're regular people.
Exactly.
Like, regular people are not parties. They are complex, and you may agree with this side or that side, or this issue is more important than that issue. And then the rest, we're woke, so we're like into it.
Yeah, we're very much policy.
But then the rest of the people who are just regular voters, they're all over the place.
Yeah, they don't. And it's this stuff paradigm. People are much more complex than that, and there's sometimes you'll have conservatives who take views that they don't realize are probably more progressive, and progressives who take views that they may not realize are more conservative. So it's much more, the ideas are much more fluid. Are in normal everyday life. It's not left or right.
And real people are not easily put into a box.
Exactly.
The way that politicians and the people who like support politicians and want to analyze voters and stuff like that. It's not cut and dry.
All the pundits and stuff. And I love Steve Kornacki, by the way. That's one of the only reasons I never watch MSNBC. Is Steve Kornacki and the big board and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you're right. It's like you're trying to pigeonhole different groups, different demographics, with different beliefs. So you care.
Good. So cheers to conversation. And and just because we have a long title, our hashtag is DVR in a bar, because that's real fun. Yeah. And like I said, we want you to come. We want you to have the conversation.
Yeah.
Let's get things going. But before we get too far in, Sean, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience? Who are you? What do you do? And why do you want to be here?
Oh, so my name is Sean. For those that couldn't tell already. I've been involved here locally for about a decade now, but my first campaign was your opponent, Byron Donald's first congressional campaign in 2012. So I've been around for a while. I've been involved for quite some time. Right now, from there, when I started in politics, I was just going around with a camera. I really just wanted to be an educated voter and know what our candidates were doing. So I would go around with the camera and just bother them with questions. And that's how I met current state senator Jonathan Martin. That's how we first met. That's how I met a lot of these different people running for office, including Byron. I put a camera up to his face and asked him a bunch of questions back. And from there, Republicans have really given me an opportunity to grow. Obviously, from how we first met,
Right.
and I'm on the opposite spectrum. So when I started in politics, that was like a major part of my identity. I told everyone I'm autistic. It was who I was. And Republicans saw me and they're like, yeah, that's you, but there's more to you. And I got my first job working in the newspaper, the land newspaper, so I have some legitimacy. Currently, I write, I report on what our city council is doing. Cape Coral City Council down here.
And what's the name of that?
That is Council Watch. Council Watch.
Nope, check that out.
That is, I put that on there now. Fortunately, a bit too expensive to just keep running the own website.
On your own.
And I was trying it on and I was doing it for free. I didn't really want to. I considered like making it into a business, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought I don't want to be painted in that way. I wanted to provide my reporting in the way I like to do it. And so thankfully there is a local website that was willing to continue publishing my work. So I'm still doing that, enjoying that. I just feel like a big policy wonk. That's how we started to get to know each other, talking about policy issues. I've been wanting to do this style of podcast for a while because I just feel like we've gotten too divided. I know Republicans who won't go to businesses or restaurants that are owned by Democrats, and it's just. And even when I was telling some of my Republican friends, I'm thinking about doing this podcast with City Manager, like, don't do it. Why would you give? And they're like, why would you give her a platform, even though technically you're giving me a platform? But it's like, why give her the time of day? And I've been saying internally in the party that you've been increasing the numbers. Like, I am legitimately concerned about what you are doing here. And mind you, we're fine. We're fine here locally, but with the autistic people have a lot of systemic data-driven thinking. And so I looked at 2026, 2028, and the trends that you are giving more of a fight than I've expected.
Anybody expected.
Than anyone expected. I respect. I obviously don't want you to no offense. And I've said for the past few years, I got excited, I think, in 2020 when you had a bunch of Democrats running. And because I'm getting tired, at least here locally, of us running and not being challenged. We as Republicans should at least be challenged.
Yeah.
Especially if you're wanting to win our votes.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
I respect you're putting up a fight, giving us Republicans a challenge, even though Republicans don't see that much of a threat. I think they should.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
So I will say that I am Dr. Cindy Banyai, for those that don't know me already. I was the Democratic nominee for U.S. House of Representatives for 2019 and 2020 and then 2022. And yes, I was a dark horse candidate in 2020. I beat 2018 Democratic very much. Beat him a lot. Beat him by 16 points in the primary, which stunned everybody. But because, like we were saying, regular voters, even primary voters, are not the same as the party elites, these people who are in control. And so kind of came in, everybody was okay. But I had worked in politics, governance, worked in organizing. I know how to talk to people the next step short in line, right?
Yeah.
So I moved the district 1 point in the Democratic election in 2020. Yeah. And I actually outperformed by 1.3 points in 2022. So even though it was a bloodbath.
Yeah, you in 2020 you had gotten the most Democrat had
ever gotten. Yep.
So that was when I started paying attention to you on a strategic level. Where I was like, okay, she's someone that the party should be concerned, and they don't listen to me. So
district is safe Republican.
It is. And that's what they see, but they don't understand. They do understand, mind you. We always have this talk internally about Lee and Collier County is what keeps Florida red. We keep taking these dents, and we don't respond. You can flip Florida blue in 2024 or 2026. Is a real possibility.
Yeah.
But they're not. There's enough to discuss.
Yeah, but they've done a good job of making sure and gerrymandering. And listen, every party power gerrymanders. Yep. Okay. But yeah, they draw maps that are favorable to themselves. And So DeSantis maps in the congressional districts have made it. Most of the seats are safe Republicans. There's only a couple like really wildly in favor of Republicans, but they really did a good job of packing the Democrats. So the Democrat seats are plus 25, plus 30.
The ones that we wouldn't even.
They just give them up.
Yeah.
But like this one's are plus 13. So it's a margin so that it's a difficult non-majority party in the district to fight. But it's not so overwhelming. That's one of the ways that they do the lines. But making those moves was something that I had done. I also, by the way, in this district in 2022, I outran all the statewide Democrats. So that's Charlie Crantz, that's Aramis Ayala, that was Naomi Wilmer. Yeah.
I think anyone could run 2 points higher.
But listen, I know. Listen, there's only 3 congressional candidates in the state that did that.
Really?
Yep. Myself, Eric Lynn, and Rebecca Jones are the only 3 that in their district, if it wasn't already a majority Democratic district, that ran ahead of the statewide Republicans.
Charlie is really like the hardest one.
Charlie is a nice fellow. But thing was too, this is what I tell folks, is that is cool. Like he's got gun, he's got a hot wife, it's cool.
And yes, his wife is attractive, but he was also standing by her during the whole cancer situation.
Right. That was a big thing.
And kept the businesses over. My mom's a Democrat, and she told me she voted for Ron DeSantis. Like he had people cross party lines, and I think part of it. I do think with Charlie Crist, I personally thought that Nikki Fried had a much better shot than Charlie Crist would have had.
Me too.
But because Charlie Crist, we know who he is. He's been at, actually when I posted this, when I shared this on my Facebook, one of my friends commented under that old joke. Democrat or Republican and an independent walk into a bar, the bartender asks, "Would you like Charlie Crist?"
Oh my God.
It's just commented on it. But I was sad that you guys weren't that foolish to not.
It wasn't okay. So let me break that out. Because first of all, Charlie Crist is so vanilla that no one was excited. But that was the point. So boomer Democratic primary voters, they felt very comfortable with him. He was a man, he was an older man, he wasn't gonna rock the boat, and he had to go Biden by, right? And that's what they thought was gonna win. They're wrong, obviously, very wrong. But
well, clearly.
Okay. Hey, Crystal's here. Say hi. She's popping in. Crystal, she's gonna have her own podcast starting here soon.
Hey, Lefty Bestie.
Good to see you, Raven.
We've been friends for a few years. I went to college with one of her daughters, and so we got reconnected during one of the campaigns, and we've just been hanging out and just.
We got reconnected actually last year, 2 years ago. And and we talked about what had happened with the election, the divisions within our party, and how we as individuals were going to navigate that.
Yep.
And we did really well.
I thought so, yeah.
See, it's possible.
Friendships is without, and I think it's also important to note, it's possible without sacrificing principles. I think that I'm not going to stop you from being your progressive self, and you're not going to stop me from being my conservative libertarian self. And we have to at least respect that, not see each other as the enemy.
Is that better is that in certain corners of politics that you can't be friends with them because they're on the other side.
Exactly.
Like you were saying, people are going into the restaurants that are and businesses that are on the other party, and people say nasty things to the other side, and we're kind of being set up and forgetting vanity of it all.
Exactly.
I would like to comment on that.
All right.
I do. I think that it's really important to recognize that we are human beings. We're human beings living in this community together. And we have to be able to treat each other just with respect. Just treat each other with respect and kindness. And then the conversations can follow. But how can we have conversations with our fellow humans if we keep putting each other into these boxes?
Yeah. It's not even just putting people into boxes like that. It's the othering and then the hate involved in that othering. And you could even think from a Christian perspective. And I know you both have had situations with individuals who are self-prescribed Christians that were not very Christ-like behavior. And we have as Christians, we're taught to speak the truth, but we're taught to speak the truth in love. And we're not supposed to. We have a fourth
joining us today. By the
This
way.
is my daughter Evie's here. So Evie is actually, and this is a little shout out to our host here at Ollie. So Evie just finished the s'mores sandwich. So if you didn't know, Ollie's now has a sandwich menu. So if you need to grab a bite to eat when you're over here to see a show or have a drink with friends, they have a great cold sandwich in it. You like the s'mores, right, Evie?
Yeah, they're really good.
So good.
Actually.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have the grilled cheese with tomato.
Ooh, that's gonna be good too. So yeah, just shout out to our friends here at
Big
Ollie.
shout out to Ollie.
Yes, and
It's
thank you,
really-
and super glad that they're allowing us to host this year. What definitely want to right next to Iguana Media in downtown Cape Coral. Definitely come check them out if you're in the area.
Yes, and come check us out. We do these shows here. Like I said, we're gonna get
Yeah,
here.
I think
We're
4:30.
gonna have we're
Yeah.
probably gonna push it to 4:30.
I like that. Yeah.
So if you get here at 4 when they open, we can have a drink, we can chat. We'll do the show. We'll stay after a little, say hello.
Mhm.
But we really want to build this community of people who are gonna have these conversations with us across party lines.
And really, I hope I could get some Republicans down here as well.
Yep.
Hopefully, because we need to have these conversations and we need to stop seeing each other as enemies.
100%.
So I'm very glad we're doing this. I'm very glad we are open to doing this and we can find the time for this.
Absolutely, I'm excited. This
Yeah.
is great because and I teach at the university here, right? And I try to get the young people to be engaged.
Yeah.
And really, they're not. As many of them are not. I was in college. That was one of the most fun things for me was to go and have a drink with friends
Mm.
and talk about the issues. We didn't agree.
That was
That wasn't.
That was
actually
my-
had no idea half the time.
that was my time with the young when I was at the Young Republicans. That was basically what we used to do. In fact, one of your predecessors for running for office, April Freeman, who had
Mhm.
passed away. I was actually in Orlando when I saw that. I was shocked. I was
2018.
yeah,
Right
so-
before the election.
wonderful woman. She would come to our Young Republican meetings and she was welcome. We would invite her. We would have conversations with her. We wouldn't vote for her, but we'd have those discussions. And I've always had a lot of respect for her for that. But if you were to come to a Young Republican meeting now, you'd just be kicked out. And it's like that's where we're at right now. We even had, for those that aren't familiar with what happened here locally in our local elections, we have essentially the party had been taken over by the America First. The chairman is
Mike Thompson.
Mike Thompson. Yeah, Mike Thompson. So Mike was attacked by Brendan Leslie of Florida's Voice. Cindy's very familiar with him.
Yeah,
I'm-
yeah.
I'm going to follow Reagan's 11th commandment in terms of anything.
Sorry, Reagan's commandments.
Reagan's 11th
Can we hear-
commandment.
Can we hear about that? Let's see.
Reagan's 11th commandment. is-
Commandment 1.
No, Reagan's. You guys don't know Reagan.
No,
Okay,
tell
okay.
about it.
I'm about to educate
I have no idea what you guys
You
made up
don't-
about Reagan.
And it was not to be killed of any Republican. And it was a rule that Reagan is like a traditional and unspoken rule within Republican politics that has since been broken by Trump. But it was you don't speak bad about your fellow Republicans. We're all on
Right.
the same side, essentially. And I won't speak bad about Brendan, but he was attacking.
He's in the media.
Yeah, he's and
He's paid by DeSantis.
really
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me. But
I have the receipts
No,
for that too.
but Brendan did this article about Michael Thompson, and it was two Democrats, so he was able to. There was not a Republican running in the race, and he was endorsing her because he's an election integrity advocate. He's one of those people who fighting for those type of issues. And for those that don't know what happened in Ron Paul's race, I actually had a chance to report on it with counsel. There were serious allegations that her opponent, Carolyn Watson, was bribing people for their absentee votes and collecting their absentee ballots. And I had gotten five sources. They only spoke to me through anonymity, mind you, but I had 5 different sources telling me basically the exact same story about her actions.
Yeah.
And Michael endorsed her because Democrats were attacking her, and she was getting a lot of flack. And Michael is a supporter of what she was talking about. And he's, I'm gonna be a man of integrity and endorse her, even though he's on the other side. And then Brendan's, he endorsed Black Lives Matter advocate. Do you want this person for chairman? And then our party said yes, we want this person for chairman because we looked past that and we knew who he was. But it was actually very interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm actually so far very satisfied with the current leadership. They've been much more transparent. They're trying to do things right and provide more and make the REC more involved instead of running it from which it has been. So that's really why they ran. They won is because our party wanted to change, and we got that change. Whether it's positive or negative, obviously we have some of other Republicans concerned.
Yeah. So let me roll up back
Yes.
on this a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go
So
ahead.
Chantal. So yes. So what was happening in her race? She ran for four mayors, City Council Ward 3. Carolyn Watson had actually been under scrutiny for these very same ballot harvesting practices in her previous election. Okay. The long and short of it is that she go to usually older Black constituents and say, "Hey, I'll turn in your ballot. I'll help you fill it out." I don't know if the bribery wasn't in there. It was more coercive.
Yes, it was. It was primarily coercion. I
Right.
did have one person say they offered her $20 and to buy her children's clothes.
Yes. Okay. So there was a lot of that.
Yeah.
It was all a whole different stuff. It's interesting about this is like it wasn't illegal the first time she did it. It was under investigation. It was only illegal in Florida, in Miami. It was only illegal in Miami in 2018.
There was something that happened there. I forgot. Like I know that there was like someone who was a writer or something.
It was okay. So it was Anthony Thomas, who was the local activist that was running Carolyn Watson's campaign that was doing
yes,
the
okay.
door to door. So both Carolyn Watson and Anthony Thomas were under investigation in 2018 for this activity. Okay, it wasn't illegal until the Senate Bill 1 passed in 2021.
Yeah.
That made ballot harvesting and several other
Yeah.
things illegal. Okay, so it was interesting. So this was happening. Okay. Carolyn is a Democrat. She's a dino.
Okay.
Okay. Listen, she never comes to any events. She seeks the Democratic Party endorsement. And in fact, her main backers are Bruce Strayhorn, who is a major Republican backer here. And
Which is
Mayor
ironic
Kevin
because
Mayer.
actually Republicans think he's a major Democratic.
No, listen, his partner is not a person's belief.
Well, isn't he? Well, also because isn't he married or was he married?
He
to
was married to
Elizabeth?
Elizabeth
Yes.
Mendoza.
Yeah, so a lot of Republicans still don't even think that he's Republican enough. Like he's considered like a moderate rhino, but yeah.
He
they
puts
don't
his
care.
money
Yeah.
for Republican candidates.
Mm,
Okay, so actually not ours.
Yeah.
Okay. But so all that stuff ahead. So Chantal was the one that was telling me about this, by the way. She came and told me, she's, "Oh, all this stuff is happening." I go, "Oh yeah, that's ballot harvesting." She had no idea because apparently this is a relatively common practice in low-income and Black communities.
Yeah.
Because people trust certain people and they don't know, and it's easy
And
to
it's also,
have these kind of
well,
operations.
it's also and the roadblock I came up with when I was doing the investigation was that these communities are tight knit and it's almost you don't snitch on each other, you don't
100%.
you keep it close to the chest. So they won't reveal if anything does happen. That is, they just keep it under the rug.
For sure. So I just want to say that when it comes to that component of election integrity, we don't want people to be manipulated. We don't want people to be breaking the law.
Yeah.
We don't want somebody, especially in this circumstance, she was not really our candidate.
Yeah.
So we certainly on the Democratic side weren't all.
It would be like if a rhino on our end was cheating a conservative Republican.
Exactly. So that was interesting. So I was going and wanting to, I know she went and spoke at election integrity conference. I said, okay. I said, I tell that story. I think it's important.
Yeah.
So that was saying.
Yeah, she spoke to me about it too because she came to me probably after she spoke to you and realized it was ballot harvesting. She came to me because no one else was really wanting to cover that story, and I usually only cover Cape Coral, so I was trying to see if I could now source it out, but no one really seemed to want to touch it, and I thought this was too important a story to just be ignored. And especially since it's happening locally, it's happening in our backyard. But it took me a month to even get one source. And then once I got that one source, I was able to get the other four. And that's how it usually goes. But I was honestly trying not to make it like an October surprise. And then it ended up coming out like a week before because that's when I finally got it. So that's how it is. It's journalism. You can't control when the sources decide to be a source.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's talk about Mike Pence and
Oh,
the
God.
Republicans. So this scenario with Mike Thompson and a handful of other folks who took over the Republican leadership here in Lee County are being seen. There's a Florida Politics article on this with quote unquote Mike Thompson players who are on the Republican
Yeah,
Period.
that's not true, but yeah.
Yes and no, because he is definitely, they're fighting the establishment. Just like
Yes,
Collier.
that is true.
By the way, just like Collier, Alfie Oakes,
Yeah.
and a handful of his folks, Kelly Lichter, and Collier, they're fighting the establishment.
Yeah.
The Republicans in Collier County. They're also fighting with Byron Donalds in Collier County.
Really?
Oh, we can get it. We'll get it to that. But not this
Well,
time.
yeah, we'll have to. That
there's
has
a
to
whole
be a
thing.
different episode.
That would be a whole day. Okay. But, also, what's interesting too is that there's this. I don't really quite understand it, but from what I'm looking at, I know that Michael Flynn has been backing
Yes.
these
Okay.
candidates in different races, as well as backing candidates for the leadership in the party.
I don't know exactly what you mean by backing. I mean,
Financial backing.
I don't really know how much financial backing is in a chairman's race per se, but I
Some
guess
of them
he
were
was.
different primaries and different people running in different races.
Yeah. So I mean, so what happened was, first off, you had 3 people running for chair, and then what people, including myself, running for secretary. They ran as a ticket, which in and of itself is, I think, is how they were just well organized. Yes, General Flynn did endorse that ticket. That is true. Did Anthony Sabatini, I believe, as well, and
They hired Anthony Sabatini.
It's pro bono. That was one of the. I made sure to ask about that because
We'll see.
I'm not the biggest fan of Anthony Sabatini, but what I've said this to Tara Kenner, who's our vice chair. We're very good friends. Me and her go way back because we were a part of the LPAT movement even before we were school board advocates before we were cool, and then I got out of it. It's gone then, but we're still good friends and serve on committees together and everything. And I told her, I was like, what I'm realizing is I agree with you guys on principle. I agree with you less on tactics, and that's where I find a lot. And that was probably where Anthony Sabatini and I is the same thing. And a bunch of these people, Republicans in politics, I agree with you on principle, but I'm not a fighter. I'm a pacifist, really. I'm a policy guy, and so I don't get as aggressive as other people do. He was endorsed by all these different individuals, but in reality, Michael has been involved with our party for a while. All these people have been involved in our party for a while. Tara has her own public image that she has had with different things that happen with her. But for those that don't know, she runs, I don't know if she still does it, I think she does, where she does a constitutional education thing every Thursday, where she has also interviewed school board candidates and different candidates running for office. So these people have been around, they're definitely conservative. He elected them. They were in Michael, mind you, Michael's race went to 3 ballots and he won by 1 vote. It was a very tight race, and you have a lot of people, of course, upset by it. But the other option was they would have gone to a coin flip, and which would have been even worse. I think that would have divided our party even more. Since then, Michael has been giving us weekly reports. We have our first meeting in February. They got us a new location that's a lot bigger. I've been on the bylaws committee, so we've been discussing setting up different bylaws, things that we just want codified, so that way we don't have to rely on things and rules that the chair says are happening. So I'm so far satisfied with their leadership. I am definitely familiar with the controversies one could say that they have, but
So here's the question I have on that. So do you see that as that ticket Flynn Trump? Our light went out there. It's just so
it's not yes.
So do you see that as that ticket Flynn Trump kind of cohort versus the DeSantis establishment cohort?
I want to put that to bed right now. First off, I don't even think DeSantis is running. I know Democrats like to keep playing with that myth. I really don't think he's running for a few reasons. One, in case anyone forgets 2018 and those campaign ads, he is a Trump loyalist. He will not run against Trump. That is,
Trump's kind of worried about it.
Of course, Trump's
stuff about that today.
Yes, Trump's worried about it because the media is getting worried about it because the media is talking about it. But who haven't we heard about this from? DeSantis. Even during the gubernatorial debates, every time Charlie was like, "Are you going to run? Are you going to run?"
Yeah, that was Charlie's campaign strategy.
Yeah, exactly. They tried that, Yeah, that was a stupid campaign strategy, and he didn't even answer. And he's not answering for a reason. And I had my parents even ask me this. They're like, "Do you think he's going to run?" I'm like, "I don't think he's going to run, but I think he's allowing the media to talk about him because it uses political capital."
Of course.
So I think from what I've been seeing, I think Nikki Haley and Mike Pompeo are going to take a stab at it. I'm very interested to see what happens in Georgia and how that affects the race. But I think there's this myth, this narrative that's going out there that there's this divide between a Trump wing and a DeSantis wing. I don't think that's true. I do think there is, again, I think there was actually an article that Spencer Roach did that I think sums it up best, where you have people within our party, and I would include myself in this, aren't going to bash Trump. I personally was satisfied with some exceptions with his administration and what he did. Obviously, you weren't because we have different opinions, but I was. But I think we need fresh blood. I think we need something new, and I think we can have the America First agenda without him as the messenger. I don't think he's the right person for the job. Now, if he's the nominee, I'll probably support him. I would want to see someone else as that nominee. And I think that is a discussion that we're going to start having internally as a party, especially as more people start putting their name up in the ring in the arena. But I don't think it's Trump versus DeSantis, and I don't even think that we can properly describe this leadership group, even though they ran as an America First ticket. I wouldn't describe them as a Trumpian ticket. And the reason I say that is because their reason for running is to give the party itself back the power and to really reform how we do things within the Republican Party and our internal leadership. That was their reason of running. But and I've even had these conversations internally with different party leaders about endorsements. We have to go through this process of endorsement. And they've told me, like, even if we have presidential elections, they don't really feel comfortable with doing an endorsement. Now, someone else may bring up an endorsement motion to the floor, and they'll be welcome. And
So
they'll
we
be
have to fight like there was in Collier.
I don't know. I don't know. That's the other question. What I'm curious about what's going to happen, and we're going to see in February's meeting, is how many of the Republicans, who are there, the quote unquote establishment Republicans.
Okay.
I don't really like calling them that because our establishment Republicans, quote unquote, would include like Spencer Roach and Jonathan Martin. They're very conservative too. Matt Caldwell's very conservative too. All these people ideologically are conservative. They're not just aggressive, and they pick their battle. They're smarter with how they fight. But
Like you said, tactics.
yeah, tactics. It's a tactical difference.
So I don't want you to give too many of the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So
I don't. Yeah, I'm not. No, I hope I'm not giving up anything
I
revealing.
think you're fine. I was gonna say though, so we've been on for a little bit of time. I think we have time. I know we have talked about there were two things that we wanted to talk about. The speaker vote and the debt ceiling. I think we have time for one. Which one do you want to talk about?
I feel like the debt ceiling is not going to go away. I really want to see what we have to come up with something in our party. Going to have to come up with a proposal. So I want to wait to see what we come up with before we talk about that.
Okay.
And I think that the speaker, is somewhat more relevant.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the speaker vote.
I think that was very interesting. I was watching that for the past 3 days while working. I work at a call center, so I had C-SPAN and a earplug in one ear talking to.
So let me give a synopsis of what had happened. Right, at the beginning of the new Congress, every 2 years there's a new Congress. So this was the 118th Congress. Before you can even spare the new members and all the members in, the majority of the people who have been elected must come together and vote for the Speaker of the House. Now, this, of course, usually is quite obviously somebody from the majority party, right? And in this case, the Republicans had a 4-seat, 5-seat.
I think it was 7 or something like that. It was less than. It was
5-seat majority.
It was 4-seat majority. They could only lose 4 votes.
So only those 4 votes. So it's the majority, okay? And so that meant that the Republicans had to get everybody on board in order to pass. The Democrats, of course, are saying, nope, we're all going to vote for our guy, Hakeem Jeffries, and that was it. So they did that. There was a group of Republicans, I call them the Rebellion Caucus, because it's actually a whole bunch of different Republicans. It's the Freedom Caucus, it's people who are back Club for Growth, which there's crossover between there. And then there's a couple of other players who are just characters. Like,
people who just came in.
Who are kind of part of that, but not necessarily. So about 20 of them, 21 at the time. Okay?
Yeah.
And this ended up going on and on and on. So rather than being a one vote and move forward, and it was over a week, and it was 15 votes before ultimately the Rebellion Caucus was held and the Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, was finally chosen.
Yeah. So it was entertaining for sure.
It was entertaining. when Byron Donald got
I was
nominated.
like shocked. So
I knew
I
that was gonna
saw
happen.
I saw shit. I Roy nominated, and I posted on Facebook. I was like, "Oh, I see you," and then the next day, I'm like, "Oh my god, they're actually doing this!" But and that in and of itself was interesting. And I know you had, of course, your podcast talking about it. And, I'm good friends with Byron. I would have been excited to see that, but I knew that it was posturing to try to get what we wanted. And you do have to really understand it from a Republican perspective. What we were trying to do was get what I feel were very much needed reforms. Um, was it the best way to go about it? Probably not. Again, tactics, but tactics versus principles. But I don't fault that group of people for fighting it.
To be the first speaker in over 100 years who didn't win in the first vote.
Yeah, it's
Looks
definitely
like shit.
it's humbling. It's definitely humbling for sure.
That is a sin.
But it
Totally.
also, and I think it almost reflects what happened with our local party, where what we were really trying to get is more power to the individual members as opposed to the speaker. You have, and it's the same way in the state legislature too, where everything is trickled down from the leadership. And so I appreciate
Which
them.
got even worse under Ron DeSantis, actually. His control over the party, so nothing went to the state
Yeah.
floor in the House of the Senate in 2022
Mm.
that wasn't part of the leadership's agenda. And that was actually safely good for Republican members as well. I mean,
Yeah, that is- that
they're
would-
not in the minority, but even other Republicans weren't allowed to bring anything to the floor on a committee because nothing outside the leadership agenda made it.
Which definitely I'm not a big fan of that style. Now, mind you, I tend to agree with Ron DeSantis, so I'm not too
Kind of.
worried
What's
about
the word? Authoritarian.
it. I hate it when you describe us as that. I don't think we're authoritarian. I could get where you're going at with this.
There's definitely a power consolidation amongst
We could talk.
Ron
We'll talk
DeSantis.
about
Whole episode.
the whole episode about it.
Texas, no.
Oh, Ron DeSantis. I'm down for a DeSantis show. I'm down for a
We can
DeSantis.
do it DeSantis show. Anyway, let's go back to this.
Yeah.
Got off track. So you're saying humbled things happened with Speaker with McCarthy.
Yeah.
So ultimately, you think it was good, but the tactics weren't.
I wish it didn't last as long. I honestly think that probably these compromises could have been made a few days prior. I think that, and I really blame both sides. I think Kevin thought, oh, I can just exhaust these people, and that was his tactic. He didn't even want to go to the table. And then finally, when he went to the table and started pulling people away, that's when you got some movement. And had he done that 2 to 3 days before, it wouldn't have been as embarrassing.
But he should have been working behind the scenes.
He
Which is
would-
what usually happens.
Yeah.
So it's not to say that these kind of negotiations happen. It absolutely happened with Nancy
Oh
Pelosi.
yeah, of course.
That's why Nancy Pelosi, the party
But they
leader,
did it internally, and
but they did it internally, and they said, "Vote for her now."
Mm.
She's out after
And really,
that.
the real issue was you did have 4 or 5 groups of people who were like, never Kevin, no matter what. So you had that gang of people, and again, we didn't get as big of a majority as we got. These do have consequences, and that's something that we have to accept and do better on. But yeah, we're very prideful in there. I saw Kevin McCarthy thinking we were going to get 50 to 70 seats. Pride cometh before destruction, as Proverbs say. So definitely, it was a humbling victory for us. I am thankful that we won. I am thankful that we have the House, and we're going to get the things that we need. I'm interested. You're not, obviously.
No, you're not going to get anything.
I'm
That's a
going to
Republican
get.
party in the
That's
House.
true. Okay, yeah.
You have a Democratic
You're
party
right.
in the Senate. You have and here's the thing. Those folks, that 21 plus folks,
Mm.
they're not going to go along. They're going to be.
But it's not
throwing
even
us
that.
off
The other thing is that we also have the other side, which is the Republicans, the moderates, who could always swing. That's where, like, even with the debt ceiling vote, I'm not worried about because, and mind you, I do think we could have a discussion on this at a later date when we actually have a plan. But I am supportive of trying to get budget cuts connected to that debt ceiling or whatever debt ceiling deal.
That was
Mind
that was the Club for Growth.
Yes,
position.
yeah.
And that's why Byron Donald.
And I would say that is my position as well. I do think that, and is it ideal? No, but it is definitely something that needs to be on the table. But I also don't think it's going to be as easy because you've got those 21 no labels problem solver caucus Republicans that will switch over to the Democratic side, and we can only lose 4. So I feel like, in my personal opinion, what I think we should have is figure out whatever, like, major spending cuts or balanced budget amendment, something big. But I think we actually need to eliminate the debt ceiling.
I think we need to eliminate
Yeah.
the debt ceiling too, because that's actually the problem. Let's have the discussion on the budget items, the budget discussion.
We should, yeah, that's true
And
too.
not something that is really just a technical component that is how our economy functions.
Yeah, and that's why I said it's not ideal,
No,
but it is
it's not.
definitely something we need to. I again, as a conservative, I believe that's a spending cut to the balanced budget amendment. But I don't think
We'll
I'm.
talk about that
Yeah,
another
we'll talk about it another time. But I think I'm in agreement. I think I've seen too many of these fights play out. I'm getting tired of it, and so I'm willing to eliminate the debt ceiling as a Republican, but it would need to come with massive concessions for us in order to agree to something like that, in my opinion.
Anyway, so those were things that actually Kevin McCarthy, from what I understand, agreed to at least bring up in committee and
Yeah.
for debate how far they're going to get. That also part of what McCarthy had negotiated was certain high-ranking positions on committees. So Byron on oversight,
Oh, yeah.
amongst other subcommittees, and
Which
things
I'm
like that.
excited for. I'm interested to see what he does there. The most entertaining one, I would say, is Patrick Taylor Green on Homeland Security. That will be an enjoyable C-SPAN episode to watch.
Oh my lord. Yeah, it's gonna be well. I don't think that anybody's really anticipating a whole lot getting done.
Yeah, I was thinking that I feel like we're probably gonna have a government shutdown within this year and next probably too.
I
So
hope that we don't default that ceiling, but that's to be determined. And then
Well,
finally, we're gonna get full swing into the presidential election here. So I think I'm gonna sideline everything.
oh, that's a good point too. I didn't even think about all. I'm trying to forget that we still have a presidential election.
No, you're gonna have this whole year is gonna be a bunch of stuff. It's gonna be thrown out there. It's not going to get very far. It's
We're-
gonna be taken down by the Senate. It's never gonna be
That's
taken
true.
out. And then it's gonna be presidential election year. So
We're gonna have a lot of topics to talk about. That's for sure.
it's
So
gonna be.
I'm super excited.
Yeah, me too. So bring this to a close. We've proven, at least in our first episode, we can have a discussion. We can disagree.
Yeah,
We can have a laugh. We can enjoy the conversation.
yeah.
We can inform about our perspective, and that there's a lot of other things to talk about.
Oh, there's so much that we could talk about. So definitely, we're doing this bi-weekly.
Yes. So every other day, so we'll be here. Ooh, that's Super Bowl Sunday, though.
That's what Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah. We may
Let's
have to
do-
schedule that
Let's
one.
actually. I'm okay with doing this next Sunday. Potentially.
We'll update you on Facebook here if we do it next Sunday, because I just don't think that Super Bowl Sunday is going to be a great Sunday for this.
That's a good point.
But also that, so it's a big shout out once again to Ollie's Pub
Yes.
and Records for hosting us here. We're going to be here. You'll see when we put out the events. Come hang out with us, grab a sandwich, grab a beer, have a conversation. We'll hang out with you afterwards. But and don't forget to also subscribe to mediafl.com. Subscribe, and then you're going to have an opportunity to subscribe to this podcast exclusively. But if you watch this and you get the chance to become a foundation member by January 31st, you're going to get this as well as all Big Mouth Media content that includes the live shows, the videos, the articles, all of it for free forever for $50. And that's a good deal because after February 1st, everything goes to its own individual month-to-month subscription. This is your opportunity to help small business launch, help keep independent media open, help have conversations like this that are going to enrich our community, and be a part of a movement for independent media here in Florida. So
Yeah.
get that taken care of. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, YouTube as well.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep having
Are we
more
going to
and
be
more.
on Spotify?
Actually, this once we edit this, so we'll have this edited and it will be out on Tuesday, and you will be able to find it wherever you get podcasts. That's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible,
iHeartRadio,
Amazon,
I think is
iHeartRadio, iTunes, something.
Tune in.
Everything.
Tune in, yeah.
But you'll also find it on the Big Mouth Media website, that's bigmouthmedia.com, as well as on our channels on social media.
Yep, and I'll definitely be sharing this once it gets out
Absolutely,
and
share it.
everything. And waiting all the calls from angry Republicans. Hopefully not, but
That's right. So,
what? I didn't even-
so thank you so
I
much.
don't know what you just said. Oh, thank you.
Crystal and her podcast launching soon as well. Crystal's here. I'm Dr. Cindy Banyai,
I'm Sean Hartman.
and we'll see you next time on
to
Hashtag